Hi, this is Editor's Take. I'm Sakshi Batra and I have with me Ravi Krishnan, my colleague. It's November 8th today, November 8, 2016. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a shocking and surprising event, announced that 500 and 1,000 rupee currency notes will be withdrawn from the entire country. This drive was popularly called as demonetization. 2 years on, what has really changed on the ground? Let's speak about this to Ravi. Thanks very much, Ravi, for joining in. Now, 2 years on, how has demonetization really achieved the objectives that it set out for?
Well, it depends on what objectives you are talking about. I mean, let us look at the original objectives. There were three which the Prime Minister enumerated in his speech and which also was there in the official notification. One was to break the back of black money in the economy. The second was to curb counterfeiting of notes. And the third one was to eliminate terrorist financing. Curbing, black money, we've seen that 99.3% of all the demonetized notes have come back. Correct. So obviously, the people who cheated, the dishonest managed to get their money, launder their money back into the system. So that's one way of looking at it. As far as counterfeit notes, look at the latest RBI annual report. You will find that even for the new 2,500 rupee notes, there are enough counterfeit notes that have already happened. Correct. Right. So in that sense, the original objective is, it is questionable how much has been achieved.
Yes, absolutely. And what about changes on the ground? If you really talk about when this happened, people were supportive as well of the bold decision that was taken for the economy. But what has really changed on the ground as per the economy or the macro scenario as well, 2 years on?
See, for the common man, he supported the move because, it was the common going after the rich and the powerful, right? Yes. But 99.3% of notes have already come. But what has actually happened? It has disrupted economic growth, right? There was a slight slowdown before the economic growth has bounced back. Yes. And if you look at some parts of the economy like the farm sector and the MSME sector, they have actually borne the brunt of demonetization. See, today morning I read a survey which said that almost a third of jobs in the MSME sector were lost. So from that point of view,
sentiment was marred in the first place.
Yes, obviously. So from that point of view, it is really difficult to say what the success of demonetization has been. But see, of course, when you look at some other data, for example, digitization, we have seen that non-cash payments have soared. But then the counterfactual is that they have been soaring anyway. So did demonetization, did you need such a big disruptive move to actually increase the digitization? Right. And secondly, another of the government's narratives has been that, it has brought more people into the tax net and direct tax collections have improved. Yes. But then again, we have been seeing around 17%, 18% growth, and that we have seen earlier also in 2010-11. So from that point of view, it is very difficult to say that, how much has really changed on the ground for the better.
Absolutely. So in the end, how would you really sum it? Was it a success or a failure completely?
See, right now, I think in one sense, it's a little bit too early to judge because we haven't really seen any positives so far, right? Of course, the government is now saying that, a lot of people were identified, even though 99.3% of the demonetized money came back, a lot of people have been identified. There is that number of 1.7 million deposit holders who have been identified for unusual deposits, etc. But so far, we have not seen any action taken on them. If you look at all other yardsticks such as digitization or improvement in direct tax collections or the number of taxpayers,
correct,
the positives are slightly questionable in the sense that even without demonetization, we have seen such kind of increases.
Because of GST as well?
Yes, GST was another disruption. GST could possibly have been smoother if there was no demonetization.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Ravi, for sharing all that insight. Well, 2 years on of demonetization, questions are being raised on whether such a disruptive move was really needed for an economy like India, especially when the objective was to achieve black money, and that has clearly not been achieved. Thanks very much for watching us in this edition of Editor's Take, and do stay logged on to moneycontrol.com for more news and updates. Thanks for watching.